This is the Tech Phantom, and welcome to this Dark Souls 2 guide. And I finally found Havel's armor, and I was pretty excited. I found it pretty late in the game. Havel's armor has the highest poise and has the highest amount of physical defense of any armor in the game. It also happens to be the heaviest armor in the game. So Havel's comes back to Dark Souls 2 and once again takes the crown for heavy duty armors, just like it did in Dark Souls. Now, like I was saying earlier, I found the armor set pretty late in the game, and that's because Havel's is hidden and it's also protected by some pretty tough cookies, some very tough enemies. And I actually had to look up a couple of guides on YouTube to make sure that I was doing the right thing. And in order to get Havel's equipment, you have to obtain a key. And once you obtain a key, that basically unlocks a door, and behind that door you can find a treasure it's protected as well, but in that treasure chest you will find Havel's armor. So I decided to put a video together of how to get Havel's set. Now, where this video is going to differ and hopefully be a little bit more exciting than other videos that I've seen for Havel's, is that I'm going to be doing this within 1 hour of starting the game. So I took it upon myself, guys, to do that little bit of a challenge. If you know me, and I'm going to go third person on you guys here, the Tech Phantom reviewer likes to help people out. And I do like to outfit my characters as much as I can. And one of the things that I really enjoyed about Dark Souls and also Dark Souls 2 was the challenge of getting loot or equipment or weapons that were not meant for early game and that were hidden or very difficult to access and required a little bit of imagination and a little bit of skill to get. So I was able to do it. I was actually able to do it on my first try, which I was very surprised by. I was so surprised by the fact that I was able to do it on my first try that I didn't record my first try until I actually until about 3/4 of the way through. So what I'm going to show you here, guys, is a combination of two characters. This one character is going to show you basically the first part, 2/3 or so of the run, where I basically didn't record on the other character because I really didn't think that I was going to make it. I was just trying to get an idea of how difficult it was going to be, but it turned out that I did it. So anyway, with that said, let's get into it. There are some very specific things that you have to do, so I'll talk about those. Here is more or less the sequence of what's going to happen, and if this is a long video, it's an hour long. If you want to cut to where the action happens, I guess, look at the timeline and the description and go ahead and cut to those sections in the video. I think I killed the first tough enemy at the 46-minute mark. So if you want to skip to the 46-minute mark, you can do that. But let me show you and tell you what it was that I did in order to make this happen. Now, it took me a little bit over an hour to do this. It took me about an hour and 15 minutes, and that included making the character and doing a lot of looting, and also the waiting time to travel between the bonfires, and waiting time to spawn, because I did do some suicide runs, some looting suicide runs. If you don't do any looting, and if you make a beehive for the items that you need in order to unlock hobbles, you're able to do this in less than an hour easily, with plenty of time, even with a few deaths. So I've edited out the deaths here, but other than that, I really have done no editing, and that is why this video is so long. Obviously, I'm claiming that you are able to get hobbles set within 1 hour. So in order to prove that that was the case, I had to go as real time as I could. Now, you guys are going to have to trust me that I'm doing that on 2 characters. Again, I didn't start recording on my second character until later on. So you guys are just going to have to trust me on it, but believe me, if you do what I'm showing you on the video, it is possible to get hobbles. And as a matter of fact, not only are we going to get hobbles, but we're going to get some additional equipment that's very, very good. We are going to get the Great Club, and we're also going to get Great Magic Weapon. So, you know, this is sort of, I guess, a bonus episode for you guys, because not only do you get hobbles, but you also get the Great Club, and you also get the Great Magic Weapon spell. Alright, so let's talk about more or less the sequence of what we're going to do. So, what we need is the Forgotten Key. And the Forgotten Key is located in the gutter. In Black Gulch in the gutter. So, the Forgotten Key is defended by 2 elite giants who are massive, have a ton of health, and will one-shot you even if you have a strong character. The best technique for taking on the elite giants is to come here with some kind of a very strong range attack. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use the knight starting character, and I'm going to take him out with firebombs. Now, on my first character, I started out as the explorer, and the run, I was able to make the run. You'll see me switch to the explorer, but it was more difficult, and that's because the explorer doesn't start off with as much vigor, as many hit points as the knight. So, I guess when I reshot the beginning of this episode, or started recording the beginning of this video, I went with the knight, and that's what I recommend to you guys. That if you're going to try to do this, you want to do it with the knight. Anyway, you want to unlock a couple of bonfires. You want to have enough souls to buy a couple of expensive items. One of them is the Silvercat Ring. That's going to allow us to get into the gutter and Black Gulch in early game. And then, of course, we have to have a ton of souls to buy firebombs. It's going to take about 40 firebombs. They're 200 souls a piece, so that's 8,000 souls. I didn't know how many firebombs I was going to need, so the first time, for my first attempt, I spent over 13,000 souls on firebombs, and I bought something like 66 firebombs, but I think 40 firebombs would do it. I would say, to be safe, if you're going to try to do this, buy 50 firebombs. You don't want to run out of firebombs, because you're going to be in deep trouble. You're going to have to basically refarm for all of those souls, and then do this thing again. And by the way, let me caution you guys, and huge disclaimer here. What I'm about to show you guys could potentially nerf your character to the point that you might have to scrap your character, and you might have to delete it. And that's because you might get stuck in an area with a lot of enemies. You might get stuck with no souls. You might get stuck having spent all of your souls in an early game on the Silvercat Ring and on a bunch of firebombs, and that's going to make progressing further much more difficult. So this is possible to do, but I would say it's difficult, it's a challenge, and it is risky. So you have been warned. Attempt at your own risk, at your own peril, and if you get stuck, I'm very sorry. If you have to delete your character, I'm very sorry, but I take it as a learning opportunity, just like I did. And I think it's going through this exercise, this experience, even if you don't make it through on your first or second try, I think it's going to make you a better Dark Souls 2 player. Alright, so I wanted to actually get that disclaimer out of the way earlier in the at the description of the episode. Maybe I'll put a caption or something, but I'm going to repeat it just in case, because I don't want people to be disappointed or upset. It is very possible that if you don't do this properly, or even if you do it properly and you get killed at the last second, after having spent a bunch of souls and a lot of time trying to do this, it's possible that you'll have to delete your character. So once again, guys, you have been warned. So with that, that's all I'm going to say about it. I think I've been clear. I think you guys understand. So do this at your own risk. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is we want to kill the last giant. So I've come to this area here, and you guys saw me buy a firebomb from the Hag merchant, and I stood right in front of the wall that has the exploding barrels on the other side, and I threw a firebomb at the bottom, close to the bottom right corner, and that exploded the barrels on the other side, and that opened up the shortcut a little bit quicker than they would be available. So then we went through the opening on the wall, and that allows us to open up this shortcut, and that gets us to this elevator here. And this elevator is going to take us down to the last giant. Okay, there's going to be a hollow soldier here, and you can run past them, but I'm gonna have to come back this way. I'm not gonna homeward bone after the boss fight, so I decided to take him out now. That way I don't have to deal with him afterwards. And here we are with our very first boss fight with the last giant. Now, this is not my best boss fight. I was trying to rush through here, guys, because again, this is the second character. I was trying to catch up to where I was with the first character, so I took more unnecessary risks than you need to take. But you could see that with the knight, because he starts off with 14 vigor, that is actually quite a bit of health. And you can, as long as you keep your health topped off with Estus flasks and with life gems, you can take quite a few hits from the last giant. As a matter of fact, you guys are going to see me get hit 3 or 4 times. I'm going to go through my Estus flasks, and I'm going to go through about 3 or 4 gems. And again, this is not the best executed last giant fight, but so far so good. And the bottom line is, it doesn't matter how you get the job done, as long as you get the job done in Dark Souls, as long as you can beat the boss, that is really all that matters. Okay, so the last giant is down, and that is step number 1 of our walkthrough. Now, why is it that I killed the last giant as opposed to, for example, going to the Dragonrider and getting souls from the Dragonrider? Well, the reason is that I need a shield, and I need a fairly decent shield, and there is a shield that you can access in this area here. So now that I've killed the last giant, since I'm in this area, I'm gonna go ahead and get the shield. Now I'm gonna be going up against some really incredibly powerful enemies that hit really hard. So I'm going to want as much defense as I can. So another reason for killing the last giant is because he will drop the soldier key, and the soldier key will allow me to get a ring. So let's go ahead and get the ring. So we've gotten the shield, we've gotten the round leather shield. It's pretty decent. It's 90% physical defense, and it's light and has very high stability for its weight. So that's our first piece of defensive equipment. Now we want to outfit ourselves with as many rings as we can, and we want to pick up as many life gems and as many health aid items as we can. So next thing we're going to do is we are going to get the ring. So I had a little bit of a brain fart here. I forgot that I had the key and I could open the door. Instead, I started whacking it like a madman. And here's the treasure chest, and we have received the Ring of Restoration. Now, the Ring of Restoration will give you a passive buff. It will not a passive buff. It will give you an active buff. It will refill your life slowly over time, very, very slowly over time. Now, that's going to be very important later on down in the Black Gulch, because we're going to have a lot of dead time, and if we happen to run out of life gems or to run out of Estus flasks, that's not going to be a problem, because we can just basically wait for the Ring of Restoration to fill us up. So that's sort of our backup strategy if we run out of Estus flasks and if we run out of life gems. We'll use the Ring of Restoration. Of course, that's going to make the run extremely long, because your life is going to fill very, very slowly. But hey, that's okay. We have a backup plan. I always like to have a backup plan if possible. Now, we are going to be picking up quite a bit of life gems down in the Black Gutter. So, and we've already picked up 2 Estus shards, which we gave to the Emerald Herald. So we have 2 Estus flasks. So I think we're going to be good with life replenishment. Alright, I also talked to the merchant, and the reason I talked to her is because I want her to, and I exhausted her dialogue. I basically hit the talk button until she started repeating herself, and the reason I did that is because I want her to be in Majula, and she will move to Majula after you've exhausted her dialogue and after you've killed the last giant. So she is now in Majula. Alright, So you guys, and there she is. So she sells fire bombs. She will send you an infinite number of fire bombs. She will also sell you an infinite number of life gems when she moves to Majula, when she moves to this bonfire. So we're gonna start buying some fire bombs. Now, um, I'm gonna make sure that I don't spend all of my souls on fire bombs. I'm going to be spending just enough souls, or just enough. I wanna be left with 13,400 souls, and that's because we are going to be buying a ring from Shalquar, from the cat, from an NPC. So let's go get that ring. And there's Shalquar.
One would just about. Not exactly. Well, oh yes. So, ooh.
And she sells the Silvercat Ring for 13,400 souls. We have enough, so we are going to buy that ring. And that ring is going to decrease the amount of damage that you take when you fall. And with that ring equipped, you are able to make this drop. Now again, the knight has a lot of vigor, but you're able to make this drop with the explorer, with the base level character, if you have the Silvercat Ring equipped. So let's go down to the bottom of this pit. Now, if you guys saw my first Dark Souls video, where I showed you how to get the greatsword and the claymore, you saw me do a running jump onto this platform down here. And in that video, I claim that doing a jumping attack is much more consistent than doing a running attack. And as you guys just saw in the video, I did a jumping attack and I died. Well, guess what, guys? I'm still going to go with my jumping attack strategy. The jumping attack strategy, to me, is way more consistent and way easier to execute than the running jump strategy, in order to get from this platform down to that platform over there. You just need to angle the camera properly, sort of aim for that hollow with the soul, and then do a jumping attack, and boom, you land on the platform. And that is, to me, it's way more consistent and way safer to do than trying to do a running jump from the platform above. Alright, so we're going to keep dropping down, and we always want to make sure that our life is as full as possible. And there is an evil ring. I have the ring of the evil eye +1 here, so we're gonna pick that up since we're here. It's not gonna help us much, but we'll equip it. And now we want to start making our way down to the gutter and to Black Gulch. Now, I'm going to come to this side of the pit, because when you drop from that side of the pit, or that side of the bridge, you're not in muddy water, and you're able to move quickly. And that could be the difference between being able to dodge those undead citizens or not. Now, I took a hit from an undead citizen, but I still think it's a good idea to jump across that hanging bridge, that rope bridge, and fall from the side where that treasure chest is. Alright, so we've reached the gutter, and now we want to go to the first bonfire in the gutter, and there it is. So far I've taken about 25 minutes to do this. I'm sure you guys could do it much quicker than that. I was kind of messing around a little bit. I died once, which was completely unnecessary. So I think so far we're doing good on time. The next thing we want to do is to reach the second bonfire in the gutter, and that will be our jumping off point to make it to the bottom of Black Gulch. In the video before this one, where I showed you guys how to get the claymore and the greatsword and the helm of the head of Van Garl, I use a torch to get past this area. So if you're having problems seeing, you can refer to that video where I am using the torch and I show the way. And just like in that video, I have equipped the Divine Blessing and I have equipped Poison Moss, because you are very likely to get poisoned in this area as you are making your way down from the first bonfire to the second bonfire. Now, if you can make the jump from the second level, it's actually better. I didn't do it, so I had to fall to the first level and try to make the jump from this level, and I died. So, but if you can make the jump from the level above, from above those statues that that spit poison at you, it's a little bit safer. It's a little bit more of a blind jump, but it's a safer jump. If you fall down through the roof, then you basically need to do what I'm about to do, and essentially run along the path and then make a very fast left turn and a left jump, almost like a 90-degree jump, to make it across to where the statues are. So let's see if we can do that with our second attempt. Alright. So here we go, we're down below again. And I'm going to pick up my souls, and I'm going to do a quick angle and a jump, and I'm through, and I'm poisoned, but it doesn't matter because there's a bonfire right there. Great sight for sore eyes. Okay, so we've made it to the bonfire. Now we want to make it down to the bottom of Black Gulch. Okay, so I have a sword, and I'm going to be using it because there are some enemies here that we want to kill. And there is an ambush as soon as you hit the ground from the ladder. So you want to do a roll and find this ladder and find this treasure chest, and inside this treasure chest is the Great Club. So there is a little bit of a bonus for you guys if you want to know how to get the Great Club within a half an hour of starting the game. There it is. Alright, there are 20 life gems here in this area, so we want to break the pots that have the treasures in them before we go further. So there's a life gem. So now we've added 20 life gems to our inventory. So now we come through these pots, you break through them, and we found the fragrant branch of yore. We're not going to use it in this episode. It doesn't serve any purpose, but again, a little bit of a bonus there. You guys now have a fragrant branch of yore, and we've gotten to the first bonfire in the Black Gulch. Now, in order to access the area where the forgotten key is, we need to make it to the second bonfire in Black Gulch. But before I do that, I'm going to do a little bit of looting, and there's going to be quite a few deaths here, guys, so I apologize, but I wanted to do a little bit of looting. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to get this treasure here, and instead of picking it up, I decided to heal, and that Razorback Nightcrawler came right behind me and grabbed me. So that was pretty dumb. And again, this is a little bit of a waste of time, but I thought since I'm down here, I might as well show you guys how to do a little bit of looting. So got the souls back, and there's the Nightcrawler, but this time I'm going to make sure that I get the Shotel and I get the Great Magic Weapon, and I'm gonna try to make my way out of here back onto the second bonfire, and I'm not gonna make it. So again, this is a little bit of a tricky run. It might take you 2 or 3 or 4 tries to do it, but keep an eye on your stamina and try to roll as much as possible, especially when those big worms that come out of the wall appear, and you'll be okay. So you can see that I start rolling here. You can roll past these worms or snakes and stay to the right of the path, and there's a little bit of a hidden entrance to a cave, and there is the second bonfire. So, and again, we needed to get to the second bonfire because this is an easier access point to where the Forgotten Key is. Alright, so now next thing we're gonna do is now we're gonna fill up on firebombs, and I bought something like 15 or 20 firebombs, but we need more firebombs. We need a lot more firebombs, so we need to get some souls. So we're gonna kill ourselves a boss, and I don't know what in the world I'm doing here. I guess I'm just using up all my souls and trying to buy as many firebombs as possible. So I'm just dumping my souls here, guys, or using up my souls in case I get killed in the next area. All right.
Is that to see light, however
So I'm gonna upgrade my Estus flasks here. Apparently I didn't do that before. And now it's time to go get ourselves some more souls to spend on firebombs. So this is the part that could be a little bit painful. You know, at this point in the run, you're kind of committed. You've already killed one boss. You've gotten, so far we've gotten some useful items. We've bought something like 15 or 20 firebombs, but we need more. Again, I would say that you need at least 40, but to be safe, I would say buy 50. I ended up buying more than that, but you definitely want to make sure that you have firebombs left over if you're successful in doing this. Alright, so here we are in Hyde's Tower of Flame, and there's some Stone Knights that we need to dodge. I'm going to light this bonfire in case I get killed. This Stone Knight here with the mace, with the large hammer, if you kill him, he drops Bonfire Ascetic. He will not respawn unless you use the Bonfire Ascetic on that bonfire, but if you want to have access to a Bonfire Ascetic, he will drop one for you. Alright, so we're going into the Dragonrider fight, and I'm going to cheese him. And again, guys, I mentioned this in a previous video, but the strategy is pretty simple. Wait until he is right at the edge of the platform, run across him, and he will fall off. And to me, it always feels like I've waited too long to go, but be patient. Wait, go on at the very last second as he's right at the edge. Run across, he'll lunge at you, he'll do that strong attack with his halberd, and he will fall off. Alright, since I'm here, I'm going to exhaust Lycia's dialogue, just so that she moves to Majula, and she will allow us to get into further areas of the game. And let's go back to Majula, and that was it. So that was the end for the first character, and here's the second character after I had just beaten the Dragonrider, and you could see that, you know, I do have the Great Club that I picked up because I also picked up the Great Club on this character. So this character now is actually started as an explorer, so he's going to have a little bit more healing items, but here we go, guys. This is the point of no return. I didn't know how many firebombs I was going to need, so I spent all of my souls on firebombs, and I bought 66 firebombs. So it turns out that you don't need 66 firebombs, but I didn't know this here. So I ended up buying a lot of firebombs. Alright, now that we have firebombs, we need to go back to the bonfire in Black Gulch. This is the one that was tricky to get to. And now we want to make it to the area where the Forgotten Key is. It's another hidden area. It's not too difficult to get to. I've seen some videos on YouTube where it's recommended, or I've seen the players jumping to get to this area, but you absolutely do not need to jump. As a matter of fact, jumping is more dangerous. What you want to do is you want to do all drops, all rolls. So the first one is here. Then you go over to the right edge of the platform, and you fall off again, and then you fall off once again, and here we are. We are in a cave, in a very, very large cave with two elite giants. And these guys are just scary and deadly, especially in early game. So in this character, I actually went and got I actually killed a couple of stone knights, and I got lucky and one of them dropped his armor, so I'm wearing his armor. But this is the strategy that I'm gonna follow, guys, and it's going to take me about 12 minutes or so, 12 or 14 minutes to kill these giants. So the strategy is this: I'm going to two-hand the shield. And in order to, if you don't know how to two-hand the shield, what you want to do is, if it's equipped on your left hand, you want to hold, I'm a PS3 player, so you want to hold the triangle button, and that will let you two-hand the shield if it's on your left hand. If it's on your right hand and you want to two-hand it, you could just tap the triangle button once, and you should be able to two-hand the shield. So that's going to be sort of my a little bit of defense, but these guys do a ton of damage. You have to be incredibly patient, and you have to play it safe, guys, especially as you go further into the run. as you consume more and more fireballs, you start becoming more and more committed to this. You know, we've already spent up to now about 45 minutes. Oop, and there you saw that I got hit, and that was a mistake. If you are very patient, you should not get hit. The elite giants do have a tell right before they're going to swing, and that's in the grunt. So they'll emit a specific grunt, a different type of a grunt, when they're going to do their attack. So there you saw that he did his grunt, his different grunt. He sort of telegraphed his attack, and I was able to get out of the way. And you know, we're going to be taking a little bit of damage, and we only have 2 Estus flasks, but that's okay. We picked up 20 life gems, and I believe you start with 10 life gems, so you should have a good amount of life gems in your character. You should have at least 30. I have 42, and again, that's because this specific character is the explorer, and he starts off with a few more gems. Alright, but anyway, the strategy is to find this cave, find this treasure room on the back of the larger cave, and from the safety of this cave, lock onto the enemies and shoot 1 firebomb at them. 1 firebomb at them, guys. Do not get greedy and do not try to lob more than 1 firebomb, especially when the 2 of them are around. That's because if they hit you on the back, or if they hit you while you're rolling, where you can take more damage when your invincibility frames are out, you will die. They will one-shot you. So you have to be really patient. Now, they have a habit of, after locking on, you've locked on to them, they'll go either to the left or to the right of the cave, and when you try to lob a firebomb at them, you'll end up hitting the cave entrance as opposed to hitting them. That was a little bit risky there, guys. But every once in a while you are going to have to venture outside of the mouth of the cave, and you're going to have to lure them basically back in front of the cave. And this is the dance that you have to do. Again, you want to be very patient, you want to take your time, and you want to lob 1 firebomb and 1 firebomb only. On this character, I had the Ring of Binding, but obviously you do not want to be in hollow form when you come here. You want to be in in human form, and you want to have as much health as possible. I guess this character I also picked up the Ring of the Blue Seal. Oh my God! Did you guys see that? That was way too risky. The run could have been over right there. If I got hit by that lunging attack, I'm sure he would have one-shot me. So that was risky. Anyway, you want to have as much armor and as many defensive rings and consumables as you can. But you can tell, guys, that I've been hit a few times. One of the giants, it looks like he's about maybe 75% of the way, and the other one is almost dead. I probably just have to hit him 3 or 4 times. And right now I've used up about 16 firebombs. I think I've missed a couple. So I think it takes about 20 firebombs, successful firebombs, to take these guys out. So I'm just gonna continue the strategy. You know, while I'm doing this, let me talk a little bit again as to why I am doing this, because some of you guys may be wondering why, why do this right now? Why not wait until you have a more of a leveled up character, and you can come down here and you're not risking as much, and it'd be a lot faster and easier to get the Forgotten Key and to kill these guys. Well, the reason I'm doing this is, number one, for the challenge, and that's the beauty of Dark Souls, especially Dark Souls 2. They've actually upped the challenges with the bonfire ascetic and with the amount of a buff that the enemies get in NG Plus. It's significantly more than in Dark Souls. So with the bonfire ascetic and on NG Plus and above, Dark Souls 2 is very hard. It's very, very hard, and it's also a longer game than Dark Souls. So the challenge is definitely there. Doing some of these things like I'm doing right now, very difficult to do, very risky. So I'm doing it, number one, for the challenge. And there you guys saw at the 46 minute and change mark that one of the enemies is down, one of the elite giants is down, and now I got to take out the other elite giant. I have 43 firebombs, so I've used up let's see, I've used up 24 firebombs so far. So again, 20 firebombs per elite giant. And if you want to be safe, come down here with at least 50 in case you miss some. So that, again, let me just finish my my discussion, my thoughts on why do this, with the character, where the character is probably level, I don't know, level 14, 15, 16, something like that, a very low character. And there I took a huge risk, guys. I lobbed 2 firebombs. I shouldn't have done that. So the second reason to do this is actually to outfit your character as well as possible in early game, because the game is challenging, the game is difficult, and having better equipment is going to allow you to take more risks and to access even more difficult areas earlier, and to take on even more difficult and stronger enemies earlier than you would have been able to do. And that just makes the game more challenging, and it makes it more of a rewarding way to play the game, at least in my opinion. And the final reason that I wanted to do it is because in Dark Souls 2 there is a significant there's a significant limit in the number of armor sets that have poise. And overall, the poise mechanic in Dark Souls 2 is completely different than the poise mechanic in Dark Souls 1. It is much easier to break poise. Weapons do a lot more poise break in Dark Souls 2 than in Dark Souls 1. There's even a ring that you can equip that allows you to break poise on repeated hits, even with a dagger, even with with a light weapon. So poise becomes even more important in Dark Souls 2. So I wanted to have access to Havels as quickly as possible, as early as possible, because Havels has the highest amount of poise of any armor in the game. And I wanted to experiment more with the poise mechanic in Dark Souls 2 and try to understand it a little bit more. There was a huge mistake there, guys. Instead of throwing a firebomb, I drank an Estus flask. So not only did I waste an Estus flask, but I got really lucky that the elite giant didn't attack me, because it would have been over. And at this point, I start to get super conservative. I'm like super nervous at this point, that I got away with that little mistake. What happened was that I took an Estus flask and I didn't change my item back to the firebomb. I left it on the Estus flask. Alright, so finally the second elite giant is down. And we've done it, and I think this calls for a celebration. And we'll do our little Atlas pose there, and we'll have the weight of the world on our shoulders. Alright, so now it's time to get out of the black, to get out of this area here, and to get back to Majula. So you want to find the second smaller cave, and you want to find these cages, and you hop on this cage here, and the cage will bring you up to the level where the bonfires are. And there's a night crawler off in the distance. So now the way is relatively clear. And we've made it back to the bonfire. Alright, so that was essentially the most difficult part of the run, guys, is to cheese the giants, the elite giants with the firebombs. That was the most difficult part, and I thought it was fitting that waiting by the bonfire was the ghost of another player wearing Havel's armor. So I thought it was just the most fitting and apropos thing. Great timing that Havel, kind of showed up. Alright, so we are back in Majula. Now we need to get Havel's armor. Alright, so I started with the Explorer class on the second character. On the first character I started with the Knight class, and I actually recommend that you guys use the Knight class instead of the Explorer class. So the Explorer class doesn't have a weapon, and when I was killing the last giant, above the in the door that is above Hag Melentia, you can pick up a hand axe. So because the Explorer doesn't have a weapon, I have equipped the hand axe, and we are going to go back to the Black Gulch, and we are going to get Havel's. And I apologize there, guys, I missed one bonfire transition. So here we are back in the gutter. This is the first bonfire in the gutter, and we are going to find a ladder, and we are going to find a door that is opened by the forgotten key. So you want to come to your left, then you want to go through this area here where the floor will break off, and then you'll see a platform off in the distance, so you need to make this jump. To be safe here, I'm going to kill these hollows. You have to be careful because their broken swords are buffed with pine resin or with dark magic, one of the two. You can probably skip killing the hollows, but I just wanted to be safe. You go up this ladder, and here's the door that you can open with the forgotten key. And this is a little bit of a troll by FromSoft. They put a gazillion statues here, so it's basically a shooting gallery. And as you can tell, the statues, their poison attack actually does poise damage. So not only will it poison you, but it'll stun you. Alright, and there you saw it, guys. I was able to make it to back to the back of the cave, and I broke that vase, and inside I found Havel's armor and Havel's Greatshield. Alright, so, and it's been about 1 hour, and like I said, I've died a bunch of times. I've done some additional looting, so, and I was being extra careful and ultra conservative when I fought the elite giants. So, um, it's definitely possible to do this in about an hour, in less than an hour. So let's put on Havel's, since we went through all that trouble to get it. And it looks like they changed the model a little bit for the gauntlets. The gauntlets don't look as fat as before, and I think the leggings look a little bit different. But overall, the helm and the chest piece look very, very similar. And you could see how heavy this is and how much strength it requires. And there is the Greatshield. So there it is, guys. Havel's within 1 hour of starting Dark Souls 2. So I hope this is going to be useful for you guys. I hope you've enjoyed the video. In addition to Havel's, we've gotten the Shotel, we've gotten Great Magic Weapon, we've gotten a Fragrant Branch of Yore, and we've killed a couple of enemies. So I think this has been a pretty effective use of your first hour in Dark Souls 2, should you choose to do this. And just to end this video, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show the descriptions for the armor and the shield. And I think I'm going to end it on that, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. This is the Tech Phantom, signing off.